So well done on the results again from the challenge this morning, guys. We had lots of for of loops, so I'm just going to write out the syntax quickly for this one. We'll solve it, and then I will copy the syntax over for the other questions. Remember, don't copy and paste, it's an anti-pan. So, we had our argument being passed in here, God of War, so I'm going to call that game. And then we got told to use the for of syntax, one of those modern for loops in JavaScript, right? So what does the for of loop do? Anyone? Yeah, so it looks at the value, yeah, at each index of a string or an array. So it doesn't return the index, it loops over the value, where it returns the value itself when it iterates over. So we could say let char for character in game, right? And we could open up that block, and inside that block, well, we want to return an array in this case. So in which case I'll initialize an array outside. Chars, I don't know what to call it. So I've initialized an empty array, and then we've got a few methods to try and fill that array. I think in
for of.
Huh? Oh, for of, not for in. Thank you very much. Habit, that is. So then if we want to get some values inside of that array, we might use a push syntax. So for each character in game, this is going to push, nope, not letter, going to push the character inside of that array. And then at the end, let's just return that array. So something like that, yeah? Anything wrong? Can anyone spot any typos? Where? Where? Here? 5? 4? Yeah, there's a semicolon there at the end. Yeah. Okay. So that was fine, yeah? So yeah, absolutely. So for of is essentially doing the same with split for strings. Yeah, we'll split with a certain so to split it like that, then each individual letter, what argument would I pass to split? Empty string? Space? Comma? No space, so just an empty string like that, yeah? Yeah, so that's definitely an alternative, and we're going to see that on question 3, which I think is how Porrick solved question 3, and then we'll show the equivalent with for of, yeah? But that's the general syntax for these questions. So, moving on. So this one was very, very similar, right? Instead, we had maybe player for tennis player. I'll leave that as chars. And this time, rather than pushing the character in as it was, each letter, we needed to transform that letter first, yeah? So some people were thinking, do I put to uppercase there and then sort of pass in my character? And of course, no, we don't. Yeah, we call to uppercase on the actual string that we want to transform, such as that. And then uppercase itself is a method, so don't forget to invoke it, to call that method. And it doesn't accept any arguments itself, yeah? It just transforms whatever you've passed in here to an uppercase character. Will that work? Yeah? Cool. So that's alright as well. So this is the question that I'll solve using split first, and then we'll look at the for of, or one way or the other. So Vince says, I like using split.
Yeah.
So our planet is a string. So we could call split on our planet to turn it into an array of characters, yeah? And then I could reverse that And now I've got an array of the reverse characters. Is there anything else I need to do apart from return it? Semicolon, yeah. Join. Do we need to join it? Is it joined at the end, or is it? It's just an array of characters still, yeah. So that actually works. And to me, that is definitely easier than using a for of loop. But it's good to be able to use different methods and be aware of what the language is capable of. So let's rewrite this instead. I'll leave that one there for reference. So it's still going to take our planet, and yeah, I imagine we're going to need to initialize an array again, right? So if I just do let letters equal an empty array, and then we're going to do our for letter in planet of, thank you very much. Why do I keep writing in? Glad you're paying attention, Ewan. And then what do you want to do? Might as well do the same sort of format, right? Letters.push. If anyone has a different solution, let me know. Now, can I do something like letter.reverse? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? So we just have to push the letter in first, and then probably just return letters.reverse instead, right? Did anyone do anything different to that? Or is that what people used, that second for of down there?
Does it not say for of in the question to use for of?
It does. Please use the for of data structure, but there is no way currently of checking whether you've used a certain method. We haven't written that into the test, so that's why this version did pass up there, yeah, with no penalties at all. Yeah. So is that equivalent? Will that work down there? Yeah. So that's an alternative way to solve those sorts of questions. Of course, we could also use things like the spread operator often instead of splits as well. So there's multiple ways we can do these things, yeah? If we do ... planet up there, can we just return planet.reverse? So ... planet should have split this string, right, into an array. Oh no, that's gathering, isn't it? That's the wrong way around, isn't it? So how would we do it with the spread operator? We could do let letters equal ... planet, and then return letters.reverse. That would also work, right? Apart from a semicolon. Yeah. So look, there's multiple ways of working with strings in JavaScript. So just try and be aware of them all and play around, see what works best for you. Write a little test to test the performance. We'll come on to that probably next week. We'll look at testing, maybe in the week after. Alright, question 4, I can't remember what it was. This was quite an easy one, right? How did I solve this one, guys? X, Y, Z from the 3 numbers, I'm happy with that. And we want to use a math function, in this case math.min, sorry?
We had the same question last time.
Okay, well, freebie then if you had the same question last time. Yeah, be grateful for that. Math.min, and then I want to just pass in X, Y, and Z, yeah? And that's it, right? There we go. Easy one. And this one, oh my god, there's a lot to read, yeah? So, but I think we can see that each function, so here are our functions, so we've got one that finishes on line 11. All of our functions don't return anything at all. yeah, even that one doesn't return anything. So it's a case of what do we want to return, and adding our return statements, sorry, our return keywords. I think other than that, it was syntactically correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 returns to add in that one. So I think that's functions, that question. So if you weren't sure, you can go to functions question 5, just review the code and make sure you're inserting those return statements in the correct place. And then they can all pass data to each other, yeah? All right. Any questions on the beginner? Good, we'll move on to intermediate, which was the majority. And yeah, people definitely had a few issues with some of the questions, so let's try and focus on those now. To just recap, looks like, I mean, question 4 definitely, right? We know that's a horrible regex question. Question 2 and 5 are probably the other hardest ones, but let's just go through them sequentially, and we'll see what happens, to see how we do for time. So we're going to talk about regular expressions a bit this afternoon, how to construct them in JavaScript, how to look for certain patterns, exact patterns or capture groups, all these sorts of things. So this is using the search method. And what does search return, guys? Do you know? Search actually returns the index of the first match that it finds. And it will return the index of the first character of the match. So in other words, when we're searching for new, it's going to return the index that n is at. If it doesn't find anything, it returns -1, which is actually what we want to return on our third test case there. So pretty convenient. So, yes, so the regexes, sometimes you call them on the string itself, sometimes you call them on the regular expression. Search, we call it on the string. Yeah, so our string in this case is our first argument in our search function. So I'm just going to call that sentence. Happy with that? Mm-hmm. And what we're searching for, I'm going to call token. I don't know why, yeah? So eventually we want to return, sentence, oh my god, sentence dot search. So we're searching the sentence for something, and we're searching based on a regular expression, which I'm just going to call RE in this case. Now, because we're actually passing in a variable that we want to construct our regular expression from, we have 2 ways of creating regular expressions in JavaScript. We have the regular expression literals, which is just putting things between forward slashes. So we could have done something like that with an I for case insensitive, and that would search for the pattern or the string new. So we could put that directly in there if we wanted. And the problem with that is it's only going to pass the first test case, because we want to dynamically assign this token, right? But I'm going to run it anyway. Well, we see we've actually passed 2 tests, in fact, because of course new wasn't found in that last sentence, yeah? So that's a regular expression literal there. / the pattern, and then any options at the end that we want to include. So that's fine if we're just searching for one specific thing. But if we have many test cases, and we want to assign our regular expression dynamically, how do we do it? Anyone know? Yeah, go ahead, Vincent. Yeah, so we can use the new constructor and create a new built-in JavaScript object, which is the regular expression object. And in JavaScript, that's referred to as regExp. And then that takes two arguments, or at least one argument. The first is the actual pattern that you want to search for. So in our case, it's actually going to be that token, that variable, that string that we're passing into our function. And the second argument, passed as a string, is going to be any optional flags that we want to include. We'll talk about what they mean later on, but some common ones are I and G. So I is the case insensitive search. So whether we type capital N, little e, W, all lowercase NEW, all uppercase NEW, it's always going to match those specific letters. Yeah? And G will search for many, many matches rather than just the first match. It will search for globally for multiple matches. So in this case, I makes sense. So that will create our regular expression. And then I just want to use that regular expression to search my sentence. And that should be it, I think, unless anyone can spot any mistakes that I've made. Yeah, so running that, all good. As I say, we'll go through these a bit more later, but hopefully that's clear enough for now. Yeah, any questions on that one?
There's another way,
So,
though.
what's your other way, Vince?
So I didn't use, I did use regEx for that, but there's another way without using regEx.
Oh, another way without using regEx.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is specific regEx train, so we'll leave it there for now. But yeah, okay, we'll have a look at that later. Maybe we can pull up this question again, and we can show alternatives, and people can see what they prefer, using regular expressions or using other string methods. Was it like a substring search or something, or what?
Index of.
Oh, an index of. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it still works. Index of.
Find YouTubers that are good at coding. So this was testing our objects, right? Was this an object? No, this is a filter question, but also testing dealing with objects. So we've already got YouTubers passed into us. Why on earth there's two functions written, I don't quite know. So that would be the first thing. Make sure that there's not duplicate functions. I think that's someone just trying to be mean and catch you out. No naming of names. And then
I bet nobody noticed that, right? I bet nobody noticed that.
it might have caught a few people out. So just be aware of those little typos. Your board challenges help for stuff like that. Should we have a go at returning it all in one go? Let's try. Yeah. So what do we want to do? We want to. Which ones have won at least one competition? Okay. So YouTubers is an what type of object? What type of object is YouTubers?
An array.
It is an array. Yeah. See the square brackets there. And what is inside of that array? Objects, yeah? Objects of YouTubers. So, if we do YouTubers.filter, because we want to get rid of some of them. And then what arguments do we need in here? Well, probably just YouTuber at the moment, right? Yeah, let's just use YouTuber. And in fact, I'm going to drop this down a line because I think we're going to run out of room. Let's pass our filter, our arrow function. And we want to return either true or false from this inner function, yeah, or a truthy or a falsy value. So which ones do we want to include? Those that have won a challenge at least once, yeah? How do I tell if someone has won a challenge at least once? Yeah, they should have a value of 1 here in this array somewhere. So in this case, PewDiePie has won once. what does that say? El Rubius, oh my god. Or Dude Perfect hasn't won one, so he's obviously not that perfect. So we could do YouTubers dot positions. Then what, guys? So we've got that array. Could I use includes? Anyone use that? Includes the number 1. If it includes the number 1, it will return true and include that in our filtered array. If it doesn't, then that won't be included in the filtered array. Okay, so what would I return so far if I just run the function now? Yeah, so at the moment we're still returning an array, and it's still an array of objects as well. But it looks like 1, we don't want an array, and 2, we just want the channel names or the people's names. So if I did dot channel, it's still going to be in an array. So I think first we need to map, right? Someone said we need to map. And we need to take that YouTuber, and instead of the whole YouTube object, let's have YouTuber.channel. Agreed or not at this stage? Yeah, I can put it in DevTools if you want, and we can play around with it to see what's happening at each stage. Would that help? Yes? No? Yeah? Okay. And then, yeah, alright, well, let me cover that over, and then we can come back. So, we're in incognito already. Got a bit more room to play here as well, right? Should be a bit clearer. Stick it up on one line now as well, might be better. Say again, Abdul?
No, I just said remove the curly braces.
Remove the curly braces. Remove them? Don't you mean add another one?
It's removed now.
Okay. Right, so I think everyone was with me up until that stage.
Yeah, but that returns true or false.
Well, no, okay, if I run this now in the console, what will it return? Oh, we need the actual question as well, right? Let me grab that quickly. Oof. That one, yeah. Why is it not letting me take it? Looks like I can only get one at a time. Okay, well, we'll just take the one. Okay, so based on that data, what is that going to return?
I was thinking it was return 2 objects.
2 objects, yep, which ones?
The first and the last one.
First and the last one. Okay, everyone agree?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let's run it just to check. No, something wrong. Cannot read property.includes of undefined. I spelt positions wrong, thank you very much. Yeah. I didn't actually know that. I wasn't testing you, I just made a mistake. Okay, so now it returns an array of 2 objects. Fantastic. But we said what we actually want back is, I should have left it there, is that.
Yeah, so why not just have dots channel?
So yeah, what we suggested next was using map. So map is going to return an array still of the same length, but rather than returning the whole object, we can, if we want, just transform it to return part of that object. So map, we're going to have pass the whole YouTuber in, and then out, we want YouTuber dot channel, right? What is that now going to return? It's going to return an array, yeah?
Why are we using the map function again? I mean, if it's returning the object, and we just want
Okay, so how do you suggest to do it then, Abdul?
I was thinking, well, we have the object, we just want the name.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be dot channel?
So if we do dot channel,
Yeah. Shouldn't that just return the name?
will that work? Does the array have a channel key?
Oh, does it return an array?
Let's have a look. What do we think it will return, guys? Anyone can say.
I just was returning.
Probably say channel's not a function or something like that, right?
Oh, it returns.
Oh, just undefined. Okay.
Array. All right, I get it now. I get it.
So if you use find, it will definitely work. But for filter, it won't work. Because find doesn't return an array.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get the channel property out of an array rather than out of an object. It doesn't make sense to JavaScript, yeah? So first, well, I don't really see much other way of doing it, to be honest. We do that, and that ends up with an array of just the names. Okay, so we're really close now. We just want that, what's inside the array, but as a string instead. So what method can we finally chain on to the end? Join, yeah. To get from an array to a string is usually the join method. And what sort of qualifier do we want in there? What sort of joiner? Huh? Not sure? Comma space. Looks pretty good to me. Yeah? So we can test whether that is the correct answer by doing that. And we get true. Yeah, so that's exactly what we were looking for. If we didn't do a comma space and we just left it blank, is that okay or not? And the loafer's shaking her head. Why not, the loafer? Yeah, so that will be false. Why? Because it's essentially doing that, right? It's joining them without the space in between. That's the default join. It leaves the comma in, but it doesn't space them out, which is a really rubbish default in my opinion. When would I want a string looking like that? I don't know. Yep, so we must clarify that we want it like that. Okay, so that was that question. Any queries about that? There's quite a lot going on there, right? This is almost getting towards the sort of stuff you'll be doing in Expert. We have 3 different methods that we're chaining together. There's lots of method chaining that goes on in Expert. So this is a really good question to get you used to playing around with objects and combining different array and string functions in there. They're all array functions, in fact, right? All array functions. Cool. Let me just copy that over. Being quite quiet today, Nash. You okay? You managed to follow?
Yeah.
Yeah? Sort of. Stop me and I'll try again at any point if something's not clear, yeah? Oh, mixed spaces and tabs, but apart from that, all good, yeah? Alright, descending order. Yay, says Poor. You did or didn't like this one? You could do this one?
I've done this one.
Fantastic.
That's why I'm happy.
Talk us through it then. How did you solve it?
So
You can if you wish to come to the computer, but if not, you can just talk me through.
I put in numbers into the descending order of parentheses,
Okay, so we've called our array numbers. Yeah, like it.
Then I put in a let x
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so we're using assignment first.
equals capital N number,
Cool. Oh, yeah.
open brackets, numbers dot sort with the then a dot reverse.
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to. Numbers dot sort dot reverse.
Then dot join,
And then a dot join. So good chaining, I like it.
and then I did just open and close marks within join.
Open, empty string.
Yeah, straight up.
Yep.
Then I did use a colon and return x afterwards.
Yep, so we're returning a number, definitely, because we've coerced it to a number using that, whatever you want to call it. Then we have numbers.sort.
Close at numbers.
Huh?
Is close at them.
How did that numbers get
Oh,
sorted?
the,
How did that string get
the
sorted?
variable.
I've closed it there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's array.
So how did it get sorted?
So
So
it's array. So, oh yeah. I mean, the characters, isn't it, in the array?
So what Porik's done is he's sorted it ascending first, because that's the default method of sorting it ascending, yeah? So 3 and 9 will stay the same, 3, 5 and 1 will become 1, 3 and 5. Let's take it out in DevTools again, right? Then we can see what's happening at each stage.
Are they not strings when they're still in the array?
Huh?
Are they not strings when they're still in the array?
Yeah, the value of each item in the array is still a string, yeah?
So how did that get sorted when they're strings? Oh, can you still
Break that sort.
Yeah, it will.
can
It
you
will.
still sort in strings?
You can sort it.
It's the alphabet order.
Okay, yeah, reverse and then
Which one should we do? I'll do the other one. Take the middle one. I think it's probably the most interesting.
You don't need to use reverse to this.
It does in this case.
Not all
you have
Same.
because if you sort them ascending order, isn't it? Then you reverse it.
I'd love for you to explain your way.
Yeah, we will look at a sorting function as well that will do it for us rather than having to use reverse. So on this first step, with just the sort, what are we returning?
Ascending order.
1, 3, 5.
As a string or as a number?
String.
String, yeah.
String?
Yeah.
In an array. Yeah. So it's still an array of 3 individual elements, but those elements should be now sorted. Let's have a look. Hold on, what have I done?
Closing object needs.
Oh yes, so that needs to be inside, and I haven't closed my function either. Oh, terrible.
Still needs to close that one.
Closed it in the wrong place now, yeah. Better?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
False, yeah, okay, so we want to get rid of that so that we can see what we're returning. Not a number. Yeah, because we're trying to coerce an array to a number. So let's just do numbers.sort for now so we can individually see what numbers.sort is doing. And it has returned an array with our numbers sorted in ascending order. Fantastic. So then Porrick suggested, well, let's reverse that. I want descending instead, so that's totally valid. Ignore my elegance for now. So now we've got our descending order. Next part you did join.
Yeah.
What will that return? should now return it as a string, all joined together, with no spaces is what I mean, because we have put an empty string in there. It does, but we didn't want to return a string, we wanted to return a number, so that is why pour it wrap the whole thing in number, and then it returns 531 as a number. Yeah, so very, very good. That's a totally valid solution. Instead, what you might have done is, rather than doing a sort and then a reverse, you might have used a custom sorting method or custom function. I don't know what's up with my tabs at the moment. That was a tab, by the way. I do. There we go. Am I being too picky? Elegance, very important. So we might have a sorting function in there with two arguments, A and B, or you might have called them number 1 and number 2. In other words, when we're sorting, this is going to be a callback function, so it will apply it to each pair of elements. So the first time round, it will compare number 3 and number 5. The next time round, it will compare whatever number is in this index, index 1, and the one in the next one. So it might compare 5 and 1, it might compare 3 and 1, depending on how those first two have been sorted. Now, the default sorting algorithm is number 1 minus number 2, or it's equivalent to that, right? That will sort ascending. So if we want to sort in descending order, then we can just switch our number 1 and number 2. Yeah. And that otherwise should be equivalent to Porrick's method, yeah? Rather than doing the reverse, we've just done the reversing, if you like, inside of the sort function. Yeah, still get 531.
Why did you use dot reverse then if you were doing that? In your one, you've done a
Yeah,
dot
I
reverse.
should have removed it, yeah.
So is that dot reverse thing just useless because it's already...
Yeah, I was just testing.
Testing.
Oh yeah, great. Instead of number, can you use plus?
Can we coerce things to a number just by putting a plus in front of it?
So you remove the parentheses.
It shouldn't make a difference whether I have the parentheses there or not, but it probably will work. Yeah. So there are little shorthands in JavaScript as well to coerce things to numbers. Plus is one of them.
Num2 minus num1, what does it do?
So that is a sorting method. So on the first instance, it's going to compare these two numbers. So that's breakpoint. So num1 is going to be 3, and num2 is going to be 5. So it does 5 minus 3. That gets a positive number. Because that number is greater than 0, it says, okay, swap number 2 and number 1. So now 5 is in front. Next time round, it compares 3 and 1. So it does 1 minus 3. That gives us a negative number, so it does not swap the orders. We run that as breakpoints, and hopefully we can see it. X is under 5, yeah, that's fine, but what about num? Oh, we've stopped there. No, I'm going to have to put a breakpoint somewhere else. Let's see. See where that works. Yeah, num2 is not defined yet. When we get inside, yeah, okay. So we can see that num2 is 3. What's num1 then? Num1 is 5. All right. Maybe it does it that way around then.
But is this after the first?
Didn't think so. Next time num2, and then it does 5 and 1. Does that make sense to people? That's confused me a little bit.
It seems like number 2 is breaking up as number 1.
No.
So it's using num1 as the second entry.
Yeah.
So you turn, right. Sort num1, num2 to num2, comma, dash num1. So switch it around.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that if it was less confusing for people, but then I'd also have to switch those around, right? So, I think that's why I use A and B instead. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you tend to just learn the way to sort things descending, and that would be B minus A. Right? If you had an A comma B, it would be B minus A. Yeah, that's easier to remember to me. Yeah, and it works. Yeah, so this is just your custom sorting function, B minus A. You can obviously create other ones, but they're the most common, right? Ascending and descending. Any questions on that one?
So there isn't like a word, ascending or descending, which you could use?
There is not. I can't put descending in here.
Okay.
No, that would be quite nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, but no. At the moment, we can't specify a word to tell it how to sort.
Could you create a variable which has dot sort and then descending?
Yep.
Which you had previously, and then just use that.
Let descending equals function. It's got to be a function. Well, we have in B minus A, won't we, for descending? Yeah, that will work, right? What's that wrong with that? Let descending. Let descending equal.
The surrounding parentheses, the descending,
Oh, yeah,
you need to surround it, and that's what you need to gather it.
that.
Yeah. Oh.
No, it should have been right, shouldn't it?
No,
Our
that's not right.
function.
The let x is equals to cross.
Oh, I know what the problem is. It's because of the semicolon, you're right? Yeah. So then we just need to do x dot sort, right? No, okay, it wasn't that. Let num. Yeah, okay. So we've just mixed a few things up. Let's take it outside. Declare it at the top. Now we're good, right? Apart from the indentation again. Yes, you've declared your descending function at the top. Then you can just say sort by descending, and hopefully this still works. Yeah, this still works, yeah.
Now we got our word.
Now we've got what?
Our word.
Our word.
Yeah, for descending.
Yeah, exactly. Now you can pass in a. So that's technically all they've got to do, right? In the function. Why can't they do that for you? Oh well. I guess because they want you to have infinite options for your sorting function. Maybe it's no, it's not. Right? I don't know. I don't know why it's not like that, but that's one way you could write it if you prefer.
It's below the.
It's what?
It's below the.
It's below them, perhaps. Yeah. You shouldn't be programming with JavaScript if you can't write sort functions. That sort of thing. Okay, any questions? Awesome. That was number 3. I think we all know what comes next. The exec one. Yeah. So we need to initialize a couple of things, right? We need an array because we want to return an array at the end. So I'll initialize my empty array. And then I think Vince, you called it match, right?
Yeah.
So did you just initialize it like that, undefined to begin with?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. And then I believe comes the while loop, right? Is this the syntax? So, and it's essentially expecting a declaration inside. Is it match or result in there?
Match is fine.
Match is fine.
Don't forget to declare the regex.
Yeah. We've got to create the regEx. Yeah. So it's the format is re.exec. Is that right? And then it's on the sentence. Is it that way around?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. So this is like the only method that requires this syntax to be put inside a while loop if you want exec to match multiple times. If you wanted it to match just once, we could have it outside of a while loop. Yeah, so if exec finds a match, it will return the value of that match. So it will return a truthy value, such as just the one E there inside an array. Otherwise, it will return... I'm not actually sure. What does it return? Anyone know? I tend to use match instead of exec. So see, that is essentially the format that we're trying to copy, right? And you just have to learn that because it's an oddity, the exec method. So, if I just double check for you what exec returns when it doesn't find a match, it will be a falsy value, but I'm not sure what falsy value it is. Exec. Return value, if the match succeeds, the exec method returns an array and updates the last index property, so that's why we can run it again and again. If the match fails, the exec method returns null, yeah? And sets the last index to 0. So therefore, when we can't run it again, essentially, it will always return null after that. So that sort of format, if I shut it down, no I haven't, good. So that sort of format lends itself to a while loop. If exec finds a match, it's going to be truthy, so the loop will continue. It will do the next calling of exec. If exec does not find a match, it will return null. That will break the while loop. It will not iterate the while loop any more times. As I said, it's a horrible question. And then we probably did something like result.push match, right? We still haven't created the regular expression. So we can do the same as before. We can use the new constructor. And it's called token, right? The thing that we're searching for. So here we're searching for an E. Here we're searching for the string stranger. It's always referred to as token. So let's create a new regular expression from that token. Do we need any flags? Options. I'm tempted to say no. So therefore we can just leave off that second argument. Return. So, how am I doing? Does anyone know, apart from Vince?
Right, so you compare the results as empty array, declare the match.
Is it regEx or regEx?
So I've called my regular expression re. I've assigned it to a variable called re. So we're calling exec on that regular expression, and that is the right way around, I think. Yep.
You have one? Oh, yeah, two examples. Can you get the description, please?
Description? Oh, well, this one again.
Well,
No? No, different.
Question, sorry.
I want to identify how many oh, no, it's fine.
Returns a new array with the match token every time it's implied. Does it mean for the regex you need to declare global as well? Like you need to add a global.
So I was curious about that, but I'm thinking because it's in the while loop, I think we don't need the global, but I'm not sure, to be honest.
See the keyword match, I thought in terms of regex, it must be global, doesn't it?
If we're using match, absolutely, yeah, we want the regex to have a global one, but using exec, I don't know. Let's find out. Do you know, Richard? Do you know whether we need the global flag on exec if we're using it inside a while loop?
I think this is fine.
It's fine?
I think it's fine without, but let's double check. Suspense. Oh no, timed out.
See,
So
no one agrees with me. You return everything,
so I mean, Vince, you suggested that. It could be another thing though.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, such a genius.
Oh, there we go. Quotes of Vince again.
How do you reduce the number of statements?
How to reduce the number of statements? Yeah, the only way I know is to declare those outside,
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
because then we can just go up the scope chain to get them. Regular expression needs to be defined inside. Expected conditional expression.
Oh, I get it.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how to fix that one. Match equals R exec. How could we fix that? Equals.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah, come on, genius, fix this one for me. So yeah, I mean that would obviously get rid of the too many statements inside of the function issue if we declared them outside. It's still not that nice, but how do we make that a conditional statement?
It's cool,
Oh, I've just got rid of the whole thing. I didn't mean to do that. So we want it to, if it's falsy, still return a falsy value, right? So could I just do something like that? No, it still doesn't like it because it's not technically a conditional expression. No. You know, essentially wants equals something, but we've assigned something to match so that we can use it inside our while loop. So, and we can't declare the match outside because then it will take the first match. So if we declared that outside, this doesn't work, right? It will no longer have the conditional error because that is okay to write stuff like that, but
If we put the match equals regEx sentence inside the while loop, and then when match equals whatever, and then when it goes back to while match, and then we're checking what match is.
not sure I followed that. Richard, do you want to? Oh, that doesn't even work anyway. Oh yeah, because that's defined in there, and so that would have to come out as well. Ugh. I think that's timed out as well, right? Yeah.
Could you put the another match equals i.z sentence, but inside the while loop?
Can you come and type it, Richard? I don't know what you mean. Sorry.
So we're going to be changing it, and then it's going to be checking what matches. Hopefully,
How do we get the while loop to stop?
when match, so every time it's going to be match is equal to a different part of that, and when what is the final execution of this return? Because then we'll see if match is falsy from that.
Yes. And you initialize it just to a random truthy value on the first case to get it to run once.
Yeah, the first one but it's I just want to see what it returns.
Or you'll do it to while loop.
No. Return value. If the match fails, it returns null. Okay.
So that's what we're using to stop the while loop.
Well, I presume null is falsy.
Yeah, null's falsy.
Maybe it's find too many statements. Oh, too many statements. Oh, we're putting null inside of it. Okay.
So it runs one too many times.
Yeah, one too many times. Maybe a do while loop. It might work. Do that while. Still putting a null in there. I mean, I guess there is a way to do this where we just have match inside the while, and we can just check, or is the last result null, and
Yeah.
it's very cumbersome.
I would take the elegance penalty, guys, right? If you come across this one again, then do something like... No, we couldn't find a way to get it to work without the elegance penalty. RE dot, oops, exec. Yeah, just use match instead in real life. RE dot exec. What am I doing? RE? Oh, I forgot what I'm doing now. Sentence, right? That was it, wasn't it? The original? Yeah. Okay. So just take a tiny little elegance penalty. At least you know everyone will be getting that same elegance penalty unless they find a new way to do it. The official solution, by the way, is also this that's on our platform. Or in fact, it's got these two declared inside, but then you get another elegance penalty. So, yeah. And let's move on to the last one. Remove characters. Okay, cool. Who got to this one? Apart from Vince.
I tried, but didn't get far.
You had a try? Okay. Can you remember what you attempted? And we can use that as a starting point.
I had sentence with parentheses.
Yeah, we can call it sentence. It's not really sentence, is it? But yeah, whatever.
And then I done return sentence dot split, and that's about as far as I
Okay, so we've got a second argument as well. Yeah, the characters that we want to remove. So yeah, remove is fine, right? Yeah, if we want to call it remove Charles, I don't know. And then Porik said he started with return sentence dot split.
Yep.
So sentence dot split then has taken this first argument and turned it into an array of comma separated values. Yeah, so in that case we've got A exclamation, sorry, A comma exclamation comma B comma and so on, right? All inside an array. If I return like that, would be better. Okay. Then what do you want to do?
I thought the next one would be dot filter, but I didn't get that far.
Dot
too fully.
Filter, remove characters. Yeah, that could work. People agree?
What is the space of filter in your
It's a filter question, that's a good start then. What's our argument for filter?
I'm afraid that's all I can contribute because I didn't get this one.
Yeah, it's each individual letter, isn't it? So usually I'd use char, but then we've got remove chars. Oh, we'll try it. It might get a bit confusing, but then what is my test? So in other words, I'm trying to make something return either true or false. So I want to say, does A match any of these characters in here? If so, remove it. If not, include it, right? So A doesn't match any of those, so it's in the final string. Exclamation mark matches that, so we remove it from the string, or the array in this case, right? The array of strings. So how could I do that?
Yes, I'm looking at the answer.
What is it?
It's the genius not going to tell everyone how great it is. Well, Vince done it he done before the includes, he done exclamation mark.
Yeah. So firstly, I think includes is a good method to use because it either returns true or false. So that gives us a format that we want to return for our filter to work properly, right?
Did that do you stick ABC, A comma B comma C, and includes?
Inside the include, you wanted to put your sentence, or
Yeah, thing that you want to pick.
right.
So that's different on each.
Yeah, I don't think that would work that way. Instead, what we're trying to say is, does the remove chars array, so this second argument, I'm just going to call it remove because it's going off the screen, or even rm if that's okay for people. So does my array include my character that I'm currently iterating over? And I'm going to put this in DevTools because it's close, but we're not quite there yet. And I think people need to see what this is returning currently. And then hopefully you can suggest a solution to improve it. I think I've got rid of all the DevTools stuff from earlier. Yeah, go on, Ines. What?
No, because I had this problem before where, like, with include, you need to basically you need to use it. If you have an array, you need to use it on an array, and if you have a string, you have to use it on a string. Like, you can't really mix up both. If that makes sense.
Yeah. But you're just looking for a certain value inside of the array. That's all you're doing here. So I think that should be okay. It wouldn't work the other way around. Does a string contain an array? That definitely wouldn't work. But does an array contain a string? I think that works. returns image dot split dot filter char da 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 da. Let me just run it and see whether I've made any little silly mistakes first. Okay, cool. So look at what we've returned. We have returned hash, hash, exclamation mark. So the code worked, but not as intended, right? In this string, we wanted to remove hash, hash, exclamation mark and just be left with A, B, and C. So we've almost done the opposite of what we intended to do. We've left in hash, hash, exclamation mark and removed A, B, and C. So let's have a look at those breakpoints.
Does he put includes?
Negate the.
I know what to do. Sorry, I'm trying to get people to get there yet. So, we had our sentence, right, which was this original string here. We're then looping over it. So we're using filter, so it's going to loop over how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, agreed. So we can see, yeah, let's just set up the variables, right? That's not defined yet because we're still outside of the filter function. One more step, and we should see that this is what we're doing on the first iteration, right? We're doing array of hash and exclamation mark includes A. So is that going to return true or false? Array of that includes A. False. So therefore, is A going to get pushed to our filtered array or not? No. So in other words, we've excluded A from our result. If we go to the next iteration, we've still got the same array. This time we're checking the character hash. Is hash in that remove array? Yep. So we're going to include hash in our array. Yeah, and I could go through obviously all the steps and you get the idea, right? You get the idea what that code is doing. It's comparing the array at each time and asking, does it include the character from our sentence? If it's true, include it. If it's false, discard it. So how do we fix it so that we include the letters rather than the special characters? Richard said it earlier.
Yeah, don't worry, I know. I'm looking at it. I'm just wondering if anyone else would like to say their thoughts on it.
Anyone else think? How do we negate something in JavaScript? Yeah, put a not in it. So what is the not operator and where do I put it? There, there, there. Right at the start, there's lots of places I could put it, but where do I put it?
At the end.
Either before the char or before the rem.
Before the char?
Or before the rem.
Or before the what? Or before the RM, before the remove? Which option do we favour, guys?
Not char.
Not char. Okay. You mean put the not before char or not before the char?
The symbol not and char together, just to like see if it works. But you've done it that way, so.
You want that? Double.
Just to see if it works. I mean,
Okay.
Not double.
So everything's true then. So we just get the original. Try them all. That's one method. We could be here all day, right? Let's try it that way. And that gets the intended result. Yeah? So if we want to do the opposite of what we're doing with the includes, just stick a not operator in front of the whole thing. Yeah. Will it work with the other test cases? Oh, would it work that way? What do we think, guys? Would it work or not?
I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, if we put the breakpoint back, it might even not be easy to decide.
Here's what the result is.
Empty arrays. So everything is false doing it that way because, let's run that one more time. So not A. So A is truthy, so RM includes not A. Will it probably coalesce it to false? So RM includes false? Yeah. No, that's not. I can't even type false in there, right? Because it's going to split it up into FALS. Yeah, so don't need to go into it. But interesting question. Anyway, we're not quite there yet, so hopefully I haven't run out of time. If we have, I'll go back into it.
I can solve the previous one without elegance issues now.
Oh yeah?
It's longer than
Cool, we will share that solution in a second. Let me finish this off. No, I've totally lost where I am, sorry. No, not there. Oh, maybe it did time out, right? So that was strings. What was that? Anyone know? Strings, yeah. Let's go back into a strings training.
It's the fifth one.
Yeah, it's the fifth one, of course. Thank you. I think I need to do some training. Look, I've only got beginner. That was expert, right? Skip. Okay. So I think we had something like that. So what's our final step then, guys? Because that is returning nothing. I haven't closed my function again. So that's returning ABC, all of those. So it looks right apart from we're returning an array and we want to return a string. How do I change an array into a string? Could do join. There is another way. If I don't want to do anything
Compact.
special with the join. Cast? Ooh, I don't think there is a cast in JavaScript. Okay, your first suggestion was join. If I do join, what am I going to join it with? Empty string. Okay, so that also works. If I just want to turn something into a string, I tend to use toString. Which doesn't work. Okay, don't use toString.
I think because it includes the commas in it.
Yeah, because it includes the commas and we have commas. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So to join was the correct version. Oh. Okay, yeah, so that's probably the simplest way to do that one. And then Richard's going to share regEx question 4 again without any penalties. Hello, intermediate. That's right? Oh, and
No, just go to training questions.
what am I typing wrong here? JS/intermediate. There we go. Finally there. Regix. Go for it, Richard. And then say, Peter Piper picked pickled peppers.
So we want to not get more than 5 statements in a function and not put assignment inside the while loop.
Yep.
So you put the result equals over here.
What's the maximum again?
5 statements.
5 seconds, yeah.
So that doesn't mean lines, that means how many statements or things that end in semicolons, yeah? So you can't put 3 statements on one line to get away with it. It doesn't let you.
Okay, and now to cut down on the number of lines, we're going to make a new function.
Fair enough.
And we're going to say let match equals except sentence here. Do a while match. Do result dot push match. Do I don't think we even have to return the result here. Where is the end?
Nice.
I wonder if I can remove that as well. Nope. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
you need to pass something up to find tokens. Very nice.
So that's a long way to get around the elegance issues.
Yeah. So which one would you use? Introduction code? That's the question, right? So it's a nice, elegant solution at least, in terms of what the platform class is, elegance. So I wasn't going to do any expert today, if that's all right for the people that did expert, yeah, because that was only 2 of you. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, we'll leave it there then, because it's 12:30 already.